Welcome back. We've had quite remarkable response to the programme tonight, perhaps more calls and probably better quality calls than we've ever had before. The police here are really quite excited about some of the leads that they've got. Now, if you saw the programme earlier, you'll almost certainly remember this face. It's the man police believe is responsible for 3 murders, those of 19-year-old Alison Day from Upminster in Essex, of Marcia Tambosa, a Dutch schoolgirl in Surrey, and of Anne Locke, a television secretary whose body was found near Potter's Bar. Have you seen him, was the question posed by Detective Chief Superintendent Vincent McFadden. You've had quite a response.
Yes, it's by far the best response we've had in the inquiry to date, both in the number of calls that we've received from the public and the quality of the information that they are in fact giving.
I was looking over your shoulder at one point. You were taking calls, and I know you were very excited about one because it linked the Marcia Tambosa case, from which that face came, with one of the other killings.
Yes, we've received a telephone call from a woman that in fact was molested, and she has previously given information to the Anne Locke inquiry, and she in fact has said that the artist's impression is of the man that molested her.
Another thing I heard, you were talking to your instant rooms, asking them to check on specific people. You've obviously got specific names, though, which you're interested in now.
Yes, a number of names have been given to us, but the pleasing thing is not only have we received the names, but that the people have been prepared to give us the reasons why they're giving us the names, and that information has been very valuable.
Right, that artist's impression, of course, will be circulated widely now, so let's hope more people recognise it.
Yes.
Thanks very much indeed. Sue.
Well, now the murder of 21-year-old Diane Sindel, a florist from Seacombe on Merseyside. Late on Friday, August the 1st, she had to abandon her van when it ran out of petrol in Birkenhead. She set off along Borough Road, heading perhaps for a petrol station half a mile away, but she never got there. Detective Superintendent Tom Baxter appealed for anybody who might have seen her that night, and we must say for such a brutal murder it's been a very disappointing response, this one, hasn't it?
Yes, we have had an interesting call from a lady who saw a man running from the scene of the fire on Bidston Hill on the Sunday evening, but I am disappointed about the response from people who would be in the Borough Road area. I'd like to highlight the man who was seen arguing with Diane Sindel that evening. He was a man in his early 20s. He was 5 feet 10 inches tall, he was slim build, he had black hair, he had dark trousers and was wearing a brown zip-up bomber jacket.
Because Borough Road is very busy, isn't it, on a Friday night, even around midnight. It is amazing that nobody saw anything.
Yes, we know that there were lots of people there. This is a very nasty murder and I am disappointed at the response, but I would ask anybody who has any information at all to come forward.
And we have had a call from a lady who did sound very distressed and hung up. Please do call again. You could prevent another really brutal murder, so please do call. Nick.
We move now, in fact, to another very brutal murder, that of Shea Kang Hong in Holloway in London. Sometime between 7 p.m, when a neighbour saw him out in his garden, and 11 that night, he was tortured, he was stabbed, and he was battered to death by intruders. What sort of response have you had?
A very good response all round.
Have you had anything from the Chinese community in particular?
No, the response from the Chinese community has been disappointing, but they still have time to make contact if they've got any information at all that would be valuable to us.
Now, you told me you got some specific callers that you wanted to ring back, one in particular.
Yes, indeed. We had a telephone call from a man in Barnet who said that he saw some similar luncheon vouchers to the type stolen. I would very much like that man to contact us again regarding that information.
Now, these luncheon vouchers are very specific. They're not just ordinary vouchers.
Yes, they are. I'm not interested in any other form of luncheon voucher other than those that are expressly marked on the front by the 2 black lines across the face, or alternatively the Z-type marking.
And there's another man specifically you want to call back?
Yes, indeed. We had some information from a man that gave us the name of the man who may be responsible for the murder, but on the information he's given me, I will not be able to trace that man. Right. So I would earnestly appeal to that man to make contact with us.
There's about 25 minutes till the lines here close. 01811 8055. Please call. Mr. Corcoran, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we're still taking calls about the 6 museum burglaries in the North and the Midlands. In each case, it was antique silver like this which was stolen. This was our reconstruction of the break-in at the Clive House Museum in Shrewsbury on Sunday, August the 3rd. And this is Chris Ferber, who appealed to you for information before. What sort of help have you had?
Oh, quite a good response, yes. Most interesting. We've had some good information from B&Q staff members about people who bought sledges. We've had some interesting suggestions about the type of person who might commit the offence and the sort of shops that we can find this property in. Bear in mind, of course, that we're dealing with the museums at Hull and Huddersfield, at Ripon, Doncaster and Leeds, as well as Shrewsbury. We were asking for descriptions of people who might be interested in the alarms. Two good calls about Shrewsbury, one about an American lady who's taken a particular interest in silver, and another with a good description of a man. A bit disappointed with the dealers, though.
Right. Your silver is very distinctive. It has the Rowley crest on it from the Clive House Museum.
Yes, that crest is on quite a lot of the property, and it is most distinctive. I thought perhaps if the dealers saw that, they would be able to help us out.
Well, let's hope they can. Again, we have a list we've compiled of 87 of the pieces that have been stolen since last February. Write to us with a 22p stamp on a self-addressed envelope to Silverwatch, BBC TV, London W12 8QT.
Right, let's find out what sort of response now we've had to Incident Desk. Here are David Hatcher and Helen Phelps. Helen, first of all, that very worrying kidnap, an 8-year-old child who was taken from Lincoln.
Nick, I would like to make a special appeal to a woman who has rung in saying she knows this man from Sheffield. I asked that woman to ring in again. We didn't quite catch the surname.
Right.
We will treat her call in the strictest of confidence.
And someone you haven't got to call in yet on that train journey.
We appealed for a woman, she was described as middle-aged, well-dressed, who boarded the 8:28 train at Lincoln to call in. She was put on the train by a man of a similar age, and he had number plates or trade plates underneath his arm.
OK, I know a lot of people were calling who've got black and white sets about the colour of his bike. It was red and white.
That's
is that right?
correct.
OK.
Or red and yellow.
Red and yellow. OK, the building, there it is, yeah. The Building Society raider from North London in a boiler suit. Anybody recognise him?
Yes, 7 calls, giving 7 different names and 7 different areas. Now, believe it or not, the Building Society is in the Seven Sisters Road in London. Now, 7 is my lucky number, so surely it can turn up trumps this time.
Oh, let's see what happens, Helen, thank you.
David, any leads on the woman who was found in Ashdown Forest in Sussex?
Yes, there have been some very good news in that direction, but first let's make 3 re-appeals. The first is to look at all the material that the body was wrapped in collectively. Does anybody recognise the night dresses? We've had very little on that in connection with the curtains. But moving on to the curtains, the blue curtain, we've had a caller from a lady who says she positively thinks she can identify the blue curtain as having been donated to a jumble sale to Uckfield Football Club on the 9th of August this year. What we want, of course, is the person who donated that curtain to Uckfield Football Club jumble sale to come forward. That'll save us a line of inquiry. Secondly, we've had a call from somebody who says they've seen a lime green Mercedes estate being cleaned out very thoroughly by a man who had an Alsatian with him in the lay-by near where the body was found. That could be entirely innocent. So if he came forward, that would save us a lot of trouble. But the most promising is a man carrying what looked like the floral material with a package or a bundle inside it in the lay-by, and so that looks good.
Right. What about the Norfolk silver raids? That was very sad, and there was a kind of Spider-Man mask used in the raids, which you have a lead on.
Yes, we've had a couple of suggestions. One is that it's a German manufacturer, but another one says it looks very similar to the front cover of a magazine called a Fangora magazine, which I believe is American. Anybody who's got a copy of that publication, please give us a call.
And finally, the woman who robbed 3 building societies in Wales and the west of England. You've had a few calls about her.
Yes, a few names suggested there, so we'll be out knocking on doors and asking people what they've been up to and whether they can fit the description.
Right, David, thank you. If you still have any useful information on any of tonight's cases, please don't keep it to yourself. You can write to us at Crimewatch UK, BBC TV, London W12 8QT, or call one of the numbers we're going to give you in a minute. The address and numbers are on CFAX on page 186 if you have that.
We always say this, but it's true. Crime is nothing like as common as it seems to be on Crimewatch. This is a quote from a booklet that's about to be published by Help the Aged, and I promise you it's not false reassurance. No one, it says, need be a prisoner in their own home or afraid to go out because of fear of crime. The fact is that an elderly person is less likely to be robbed than any other age group, since crime against the elderly is very rare. Whatever your age, don't have nightmares. Please do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.